Okay, this is the homework helper for 1-9 in the workbook, solving equations by multiplying or dividing. As you can see, we're going to do a few questions from that top part. Solve and check are the directions there. You're going to do different things to approach the questions based on if they're set up as a multiplication or division problem, but the idea is the same. You can see down here in red in the lower right corner of your screen, you've got those exact same rules that we had yesterday. It's the same rules for solving these equations as yesterday, with variables on the left, numbers on the right. You can flip the sides and you'll be able to use opposite side to the opposite to solve. So let's take a look at number 1, 4w equals 48, or 4 times w equals 48. So again, we already know we want variables on the left, and as you can see, the variable w is on the left side of the equal sign. Meanwhile, the number 48 is on the right side of the equal sign. So we see that our odd duck here is the 4. And that's what we're going to have to move out of the way here. So when we move this out of the way, right now this says 4 times w. So I'm undoing multiplication. And of course I'm undoing multiplication with division. So I'm dividing both sides by 4 in this case. Again, whenever I want to move something to the opposite side of the equal sign, in this case that 4, I want to get that out of the way so it's a number off to the right, I'm doing the opposite. And as I divide by 4 here, I've got 48 divided by 4 there, which is going to change into 12. Now remember, yesterday what happened is on that left side, whatever with those numbers there went to 0. But we were talking about adding and subtracting them. Here, it's going to go to 1. If it went to 0, 0 times my variable would go to just 0. And that's not what I want. I want the variable on the left side. So that's why it's going to go to 1 here. 4 divided by 4 changes into 1. And of course we can check this just like we did yesterday. Change the variable into whatever you solve. The left side should equal the right side. 4 times 12 is 48. The other side says 48 as well. And you've got a match, so we know we did this correctly. Now number 10, as it sits, is a division problem. We do have a variable on the left, though. We do have a number on the right. I just have to look at moving 21 out of the way here. So as far as moving 21 goes, I'm going to do the opposite there. And in this case, right now, think about it. This says dividing by 21. So the opposite is to multiply by 21. And that's how I'm going to shove all those numbers over to the right side here. Remember, showing work when you multiply, as we discussed in class, you don't come underneath and write times 21 like that. It's not that that's not what you're doing. You are multiplying by 21. That's just not the correct way to show it mathematically. So I'm going to get rid of that, and what I'm going to do to show that I'm multiplying by 21 is I'm going to use some giant parentheses here, and I'm going to put those 21s out there. And over here, the divide by 21, multiply by 21, that cancels each other out. If you're having a hard time seeing why that would be, we can show it mathematically. Let's take 42 and divide it by 21, which is just a random number I picked. When I do that, that gets me to 2. Remember, I divided by 21, but then what did I do? I then multiplied by 21. All right, where did I come back to? Well, I come back to 42. So the same thing's going on here. When I take k and divide it by 21 and then multiply it by 21, I get the only thing that I had left there, which was k. Just like here, the only thing I had left was 42. Okay, so I'll erase that little extra bit that we did there to show why that's so. But I have k now on the left side by itself. And over here I'm going to do 15 times 21 to solve. 15 times 21 is 315. And indeed, we can check that again. Over here I can do 315 divided by 21. 315 divided by 21 is 15. Since the other side says 15 and they match, we know we did this correctly. Now 13 really isn't any trickier than either of these. It's just a little bit different because for the first time in the homework helpers, you actually get to use this flipping sides rule here. Because as you can see in this problem, the variable b is on the left or on the right side of the equal sign, but I want it on the left side of the equal sign. So I'm going to literally invert the left and the right side here. And once you do that, then it's just like what we did up here in question 1. We know we want to keep that variable b on the left side of the equal sign, and we know we want to keep this number 672 on the right. What we don't want is this negative 24. So that's what I'm going to have to look at moving here. Right now, this is a multiplication problem. And remember, when I want to move it to the opposite side of the equal sign, which I do, because it's a number, the numbers are going to end up all over here when it's all said and done. Right, I'm going to have to divide. I'm dividing because I'm doing the opposite of, in this case, multiplying negative 24 times b. And again, we do it to both sides. So here I'm just left with b, and here I've got 672 divided by negative 24, and when I do that I get negative 28. And again, you can check that. You can do negative 24 times negative 28. In this case, that is indeed 672. Since the other side says 672, we matched. We know we did this correctly.